Hello and welcome to this week's The Positive Habit. Thank you for being with me. This week, I really want to focus on remote working, on working from home. And really, the question that I have for you today is it working for you? If you are indeed working at home, as so many of us are at the moment. And this is something I've experienced of both, of working from home for many years and also in my office. And so I think that I have a good idea of what it can be like in terms of the long-term impact of working from home. There's certainly the novelty. I think that many of us, you can probably relate to, when you felt that sense of just the freedom that it can bring, the autonomy over your life, being able to really spend time with your children, to connect with them, to bring them to places, to see your family, all of that is just hugely, hugely beneficial. However, as it goes on, we really need to look now at what are the possible potential issues that could be there in terms of your own mental well-being. So with that in mind, I have 5 different points that I think would be really, really helpful. Because when we are cut off, and think of the word remote, it is that sense of being isolated. And so many people are feeling this. I'm seeing this in my clinic every day. I actually am delighted to go to the office every day because it gives me that sense of boundary. And that's one thing that I think we will talk about now. So the 5 things are what I think would be really useful is to write down all of the pros and all of the cons of of working from home for you. What is working for you and what isn't. Like I said, it's probably that sense of freedom, being able to go out for a run when you want, having a sense of your own, autonomy of your own life, of being able to spend time with your family, no long commute, all of those things are really, really good and really clear. However, keep in mind that what was working, before in terms of the way that the rat race system was, that so many people were rushing to work, long commutes, etc., not seeing their families, that wasn't working. But then now we're in an extreme situation where people are completely, contained in their own homes and remote, cut off from other people. And that is an extreme. And I would say that any extreme is never going to be positive, no matter what side of the scale it's on. We're looking always in our lives to sustain a sense of balance and a sense of moderation in all things, as the Greek Stoics would have certainly recommended to us. So the first thing I would say is just write down, get to look at it in your own life. What is actually working for you and what is not working for you. And you don't have to put a positive spin on it. Just be really, really honest with yourself. The second thing I would say is, for so many people, it's out of your control to get back to the office. So what you really need to do to help your whole body and mind to understand the difference between when you're working and when you're not working is transitioning periods. And these are periods that we would have naturally had in our working day when we were going out in the morning and coming home in the evening. There was that period of time where your whole system was starting to transition from work mode to relaxation. When you don't have that naturally, you really need to bring it in. You need to create it. A really good way to do it is to actually simulate the working day. So get up, get dressed. I think it really helps to, make that effort with yourself, do your hair, bit of makeup, nice top, go out for a walk. Makeup, not if you're a guy, or maybe if you want, if you're a guy, sorry, I shouldn't say that, but generally speaking, makeup for the girls and the boys, if you wish, of course. So anyway, you're out, you're getting that sense of walking to work, but you're really just going on a little, on a little loop in your area. Even cycling, if you used to cycle to work, go cycle and do a little, sort of 15-20 minute round trip. It's going to really help you to start the day. Definitely not checking any emails or anything before you sit down, as you would in your office or in your place of work in the morning. Now, another way of transitioning is also at the end of the day to do the same thing, to stand up, to leave. But not just that, it's also, little mini periods of transitioning during the day that you would have had, for example, when you went off to the water cooler, when you went off to, chat to a colleague. Take time to actually use those mini moments, those little breaks, to breathe as deep as you can, to stretch your muscles, because sitting at the computer, if that's what you're doing, which most of us working from home would be doing, is to really listen to your body and notice that it's actually probably screaming at you to have a stretch, and it doesn't take much longer out of your day, but it makes a huge difference. And then to practice some really deep nasal breaths, especially before eating, before, definitely not eating at your desk, whether you were in work or at home, is very important to make that clarity to breathe before you eat. You're going to really calm your whole system, and as a result, your digestive system will work so much better. So that's one thing I would say. The third thing I would say is, if you have the option to go back to your office maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Now, not everybody has that option, but if you do, take it. Take it, because you're moving in the direction of balance there. You're moving in the direction of being more interactive in the world, of getting back out into seeing different, even just those little moments, the person at the door, your colleagues, just even for a moment or two, makes a huge difference to our mental well-being. So if that option is there and you've been kind of holding back because, the comfort zone and the idea of having to actually get up, get ready and get out again, which, you did for so long, you are so capable of doing it. And if you have that option, please do take it, because it will certainly stand to you in the long term. And it's not the extreme that you were. Keep that in mind. It's not 5 days a week with that rat race kind of pressure. It's just simply going closer towards a place of balance, which I think could be really, really good for you. The other thing I think can be really good, if you have the possibility to suggest to your work colleagues to go on team walks, that you actually get together, because it's so important. I think that we forget that work is not just about a wage packet. It's not about a salary. It's about a community. So keeping that sense of community alive, not just on Zoom calls, but actually face to face, and a healthy way to do that is for you to organise, a team walk Saturday morning. Let's get together. And really, your colleagues are the people who understand what you're going through, much more so in terms of you have that, collective combined interest in the work that you're doing. You understand it in a way that your friends and family, they just can't. we do try, but we still really can't grasp quite often what it's like for other people in their work. And the last thing that I would say I think is really helpful is to create, the mini moments that I was talking about in terms of that social interaction that we would have had more so in our day-to-day life with colleagues. What you can do is start to recreate those within your community. So spend that little bit longer maybe chatting to a neighbour than you normally would. Find people in your community that you can have those really just very casual but very life-affirming communications and connections. Going to get a coffee, chat to the person, say, how are you today? Nice bright day. All of these things, they seem superfluous, but they're not. They're hugely important to our well-being. So I am going to stop talking, and this is it's such a big area that I really wanted to share those with you. Next week, I'm going to do a really good meditation visualization on motivation, because this is an area that I'm really seeing people are lacking at the moment from the whole area of remote working. what happens is that loss of connection can lead to a lack of motivation. So I want to help you with that. And also, the really good news that I've been sharing is that my online program is free again. And it's free again because of all of these things that I'm saying in terms of what I see day to day in my office of people struggling really more now than during the lockdown. It seems the longer it goes on, the more uncertainty and the more frustration people are feeling, which is completely understandable. So we really have to actually counteract that by being very proactive in terms of looking after our mental well-being. And my online course has helped so many people. It was just phenomenal to see during that period of time, and I want that to continue. So please do, if you haven't already, register, complete it, share it. I would ask if you can to donate. That would be amazing, whatever you can afford. If you can't, that does not matter at all. The main thing is that it's out there, and that you might, if you could, I would really appreciate it, to share your registration on social media so that we keep spreading the really good positive news that this course is really, really beneficial. So thank you so much. Stop talking. All right, lots of love. Bye.